The Royal Kludge RK71 is one of the very few mechanical keyboards out right now that offers a unique 70% layout, works in both Windows and Mac, has a great build quality and offers tons of customization while still coming at a price of under 4,500 Indian rupees or $50 US. Just like most of the other tech that I've reviewed on this channel, this one is no exception because I've personally bought this keyboard after doing a lot of research online. And after having used this one for almost 4 to 5 months right now, I'm feeling pretty confident in sharing my personal thoughts and opinions about this keyboard to you guys. So if you're planning to buy the RK71 right now in the season of discounts, please watch this video because you might learn a thing or two about this keyboard that should help you to decide whether or not to pull the trigger and get this keyboard right now. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right in. Now, Royal Kludge is quite popular among the enthusiasts in the keyboard market. And just like their other models, the RK71 is offered either in black or white with a number of switch options, and they also have models for both wired and wireless options depending upon the region that you're living in. The keyboard I have with me is the black wired-only version that I bought from Mickey's.com, and aesthetically there's something about the product that I immediately liked when I first took it out of the box. And that has to be the all-black side panels instead of the hideous-looking red or blue ones that you'd find in other versions internationally. I'm not so sure if this is an updated model, but the ones that you get from Mickey's.com will have the all-black or white exterior that I'm sure many of you would prefer. Inside the box, you get the detachable Type-C to USB cable that's non-braided, a combo puller that includes a keycap puller on one side along with a switch puller on the other, some extra switches, and a manual that you should definitely keep handy, especially if you're not used to typing on small form factor keyboards. Alright, now coming to the RK71, let's first talk about the build quality of this keyboard. And I want to get this out of the way in the beginning itself. There's literally nothing to complain about. The keyboard is actually built pretty good. The keyboard is mostly made out of ABS plastic, and it also has a thick metal plate over the PCB, which makes the keyboard feel quite sturdy. The sides are pretty much rounded off so that you don't end up stabbing yourself, and in terms of rigidness, the keyboard felt quite good and tough. I honestly feel that the build quality of this keyboard is at par with keyboards costing almost twice as much. So if I were to rate the keyboard based on its build quality, it's definitely a 4.5 out of 5. Ergonomically, the keyboard has this angled off backplate, and it's also raised a bit, which makes it quite comfortable to use. And the rubberized feet also do a decent job of preventing the keyboard from sliding about on your desk. But if you like to have the keyboard a bit more elevated, the RK71 does come with these two magnetic risers that will snap onto your top feet just like that, and they're more than enough to get the job done quite well. A rating of 4 out of 5 is what I'd give for the ergonomics. Because I'm using the wired version of the RK71, the only means of connectivity to the PC would be to use a Type-C to USB cable. The Type-C port on the keyboard is located on the top left-hand side, and this makes it perfect for attaching custom coiled cables like this one that I got from Cable Sutra. If you haven't yet heard about Cable Sutra, they're one of the fastest growing custom cable makers here in India. And recently they launched their website where you can buy custom handmade cables for your keyboards and your mice. I've got myself this coiled blue camo cable that comes complete with an aviator connector. And for those of you who are fond of aesthetics, these cables do indeed make your keyboard setups look that much elegant. So go ahead and get your custom cables today by visiting cablesutra.shop and get a 10% discount on your order by entering the coupon code ROHITAGNI during checkout. Thanks again to Cable Sutra for providing these cables to me for the video. Alright, now let's talk about some of the cool features that you get with the RK71, starting with this unique 70% form factor. It's basically an extended version of the 60% form factor with the added arrow keys and the cursor control keys. And personally, this is the smallest layout that I'm comfortable with coming from the TKL layout. The 70% form factor makes the RK71 perfect for space-saving setups like mine, and its elongated appearance does make it look really nice on the table. Now, there might be some of you who feel that the lack of the function row is just a bit too much. But trust me, you'll get used to this within a month or so of using this keyboard. And this is also coming from a person who is a web developer by profession, so if I can do it, so can you. Also, just like I mentioned earlier, this keyboard can be used in both Windows and Mac environments, and the way you switch between these two is by pressing the function button and the A or the S keys respectively. If your keyboard is the wireless version, you also get controls for your Bluetooth devices on these top row keys. So you're pretty much covered in all the versatility standpoint as well. The RK71 is available in both single color LED and full RGB versions, and both of them come with this white metal plate under the keycaps that reflects the light quite well. Also, there's a strip of RGB on either side of the keyboard which can be controlled independently, and these give a slight underglow to your keyboard, which I find pretty unique, and it looks stunning, especially if you have a dark setup like mine. You can control up to 5 levels of brightness on the keys by pressing function and up or down arrow keys. Aside from that, you can also change the RGB and control the different modes of lighting by pressing the function key and the end or home key respectively. Honestly, I feel that the keyboard's firmware is more than enough to control your RGB, but if you want to customize it a bit further, you have to resort to the Royal Kludge software. Okay, here's where I'd like to say that downloading and configuring the Royal Kludge software to control your RGB is a real pain in the back if you ask me. I had almost given up on the application because most of the applications that I found from the Royal Kludge website were incompatible with the RK71 that I had with me. But then I stumbled upon this review over at mickey's.com, and the person claimed to have found the solution to our common RGB problem. So I'll make sure to link that software in the video description down below so that you guys can check it out if you're running into the same problems like us. Now, after you get the software installed, you can of course change the modes of lighting on your keyboard, have customizable macros and whatnot. Although, like I mentioned earlier, I've personally never found myself using the software that much, and I'd leave it to you guys to judge if you like it or not. Alright, now let's talk about the most important aspect of any keyboard, the typing experience. This is where the RK71 had actually surprised me in a good way because I never imagined this keyboard to be so good to type on. I had opted for gateron brown switches with my RK71, and these are way better than their corresponding Otemu versions. The keyboard also comes with red, blue or yellow switches depending upon the region from where you're buying this keyboard. But to be honest, the feeling that you get while typing on gateron brown switches is something that cannot be told but must be experienced. These are almost at par to the cherry brown switches to be honest, but to take the full advantage of these switches, you need to swap out your stock keycaps. Royal Kludge keyboards are never meant to be used with the stock ABS keycaps. You're much better off replacing them with double shot PBT ones that do not feel so much hollow sounding. And if you manage to get your hands on these pudding style keycaps, it's the best of both worlds with respect to both aesthetics and the functionality. I'll make sure to leave some Amazon links in the description if you want to get your hands on these pudding style keycaps because they do look awesome on your keyboards. Now, here's the thing that I'd like to mention about my RK71 in particular. I've used Royal Kludge keyboards earlier. In fact, I've tested a few of them before finally zeroing in on this one. But the thing that I noticed is that this one sounds a lot smoother, a lot softer than the other keyboards that I've tested. Even the stabilizers and the keycaps feel a lot better than the other keyboards. And another thing to top it off is that it feels as if some kind of a damping has been added to this keyboard because it feels a lot heavier and the sounds are also not that much the rattling of the keyboard and stuff like that, they are also not that much pronounced. And this is not an assumption of mine because I found people over at mickey's.com leaving reviews that they also felt the same regarding their keyboards. So it's good to see that Mickey's and Royal Kludge are actually offering to pre-mod their keyboards before finally sending out to their customers, and that actually makes us experience the best typing experience right from the time we open the box. So I'm gonna rate the typing experience a solid 5 out of 5 here, and to further emphasize my verdict, here's a quick typing test. Alright, so by now it must be clear to you guys that I'm absolutely loving my RK71, and it's something that I'm looking forward to using for a really long amount of time. There's almost nothing to complain about this keyboard, and I feel that if you're looking to buy a smaller form factor keyboard, don't get the RK61 or any other 60% keyboard, but get the RK71 instead, and trust me, you'll be more than happy. And also the price of 4,000 to 4,500 rupees is the real icing on the cake and makes the RK71 a real good choice for budget keyboards. So if you're planning to purchase the RK71 right now, I'll make sure to have links to mickey's.com down in the video description for those of you who stay in India, and the rest of you can find great deals on the RK71 over at amazon.com. Alright, so that was pretty much it for my review of the Royal Kludge RK71. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching it or at least found it entertaining in some way. So I'd really appreciate if you could hit that like button, it really helps me out a lot. And if you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss out on a single upload. This is me, Rohit, signing off. I'll see you guys in the next video and thank you so much for watching.